something to say.
Hello everybody, it's Charlie. Welcome to a new day and a wonderful new Project Shadow. At least I hope it's wonderful. I think I already said that. My name's Charlie. You might know me better as sci-fi fantasy writer C.E. Dorset, and I'm here to talk to you today about Raign. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She is a British musician that I have so much love for that it really is hard for me to explain and describe exactly how I feel about her. Apparently, she competed on the X Factor. I'm assuming that's the British X Factor. I don't know. I don't watch either it or the American version of the show. I have loved her music for quite some time because it is fresh, it is original, it is different. It doesn't sound like anything else. And that's one of the things that I love about her. It is dark, it is moody, it is brooding, but it never succumbs to the melancholy that you honestly think that it should, given often the lyrical content and the structure of the music itself. Well, I don't want to say that she's back or anything like that, because she hasn't really gone away, but she has a new EP out, and it is titled Born Again. It has 4 tracks in it, but I'm probably going to talk about 5 or 6 tracks today because she also released 2 singles, and one of them actually shares the cover of the EP. I want to start... you have no idea how much I wish I could play her music while I'm talking about it. I mentioned this back in our talk about Aviva a couple weeks ago, and I really... I miss being able to play songs for you guys, but that's not something that I can do anymore under the contracts that I've signed. So you're going to have to check her up. It's Raign, R-A-I-G-N. Look her up. Today we're talking about her EP, Born Again, and we're starting with the first song, Empire of Our Own Orchestral Mix. One of the things that drew me to her, and actually, the first thing that I ever heard from her was a cover. And her covers are brilliant, especially if you are a dark wave goth enthusiast, such as I am. And I love phrasing it that way because it causes some people's heads to pop. Because, you're not supposed to be gothic and enthusiastic. That's not something that is supposed to happen. But of course it does happen, darling. We love so much that death just happens to be one of those things, don't you know? Yeah. This album, so Empire of Our Own is a masterpiece of her style. And it takes me back to when I first heard her. I heard her on a cover of Wicked Game, Chris Isaak's Wicked Game. And her version of that song blew me away because it was so different from his. Well, his is kind of sultry and dirty, and that song that somebody's going to get laid to. Because, it's Chris Isaak, and that's what all of his music was designed for. Her version really plays up the drama of the lyrics, and it's gorgeous. And definitely check it out if you've never heard it before. It might be a good way for you to get introduced to her, is to check out some of her covers, like Knocking on Heaven's Door, or one that we're going to talk about on this album, because they are so different from the versions that you're probably familiar with, and seeing the difference between the originals and how she performs them and does orchestration for them. Now, this is a very unfair analogy because in no way does her music sound like them, but it's kind of like the covers of the Typo Negative did. Like if I were to play Summer Breeze by Seals and Croft, and you get to see this happy, jolly, bouncy kind of, rock pop song, and then I play Typo Negative's version of that, or their wonderful Beatles medley, or any of their covers, you immediately get an understanding of who they are as a band, because they really made those songs their own and made them so different from the original. And that's kind of what I feel like Raign does. Like they become Raign songs. And in fact, the one cover that we're going to be talking about off of this album, I didn't even realize it was a cover until my husband started singing along. And I got confused and asked him about it. And he pointed out, yeah, it's that song. And I looked it up and yeah, it's a song by the Kinks. And I didn't even realize. And I actually know the original song and I like the original song. And I didn't even realize because it's so dramatically different. And that's how I fell in love with her and why I love her. So Empire of Our Own, I really don't know how to describe this song musically. It in some ways, I kind of want to write a movie or a television show and have this be the opening credits for it, because it's a great first song for the album because, one, for me, it opens up so much imagery in my mind, just with the orchestration, just with the music. Like, before we even get to the lyrics, the song itself evokes so much imagery for me that I kind of want to write an epic fantasy series just so this can be the intro song to it. Because unfortunately it doesn't exactly fit on any of the ones that I'm currently working on. So I'd have to come up with something new, but it would be worth it just to have that moment. The other thing that I love about her is her phraseology and the way she is very free form in the poetry of the lyrics, and how her vocal performance sells them so much. So in a song like Empire of Our Own, lay hours under love, you blow my endorphins, fade always on the run, but you would slip back in with ease, the place where life begins. And oh, our minds are full of freedom, and in a world where we all come alive. And oh, when love became the reason, we fly with kings tonight, and come down with an empire of our own. Like the imagery there, and the power there, and for me, especially in the delivery, the sheer sensuality of the delivery of these lines. This track, like if I wasn't already in love with her and her previous catalog, this song would have gotten me. It would have just taken me in and never let me go. There's something about the way the words in the song change. Moments move you. On our glory days are numbered. You're the one to count my love. And oh, our minds are full of freedom. We're in a world where we all come alive with an empire of our own. I don't know what it is about these words, because it's not just the words, it's the delivery, it's the music that goes along with them. This song, it just goes right into my heart, grabs it, and says, dream of big things. And so few songs do that. I mean, again, unfair comparisons, because I don't know a lot of music that is in a similar sound, sonic category as her. And I'm sure that they exist, and if they do, please let me know. I would love to find them. But it's kind of like the first time I ever heard music by Black Sabbath or Led Zeppelin, and the music, the words, and the delivery of the words carried me away into this fantasy land that I never wanted to leave. And while her music has very little in common with either of those bands, it's that same experience that, honestly, I didn't know I was capable of anymore. I talk a lot about my age, and I didn't know that I would be able to find a musician now, at this point in my life, that was able to rekindle those fires of imagination in quite the way some of the artists that we've talked about lately have. Like Aviva, who really brought my spirits back to life, and Raign, who enkindles this fiery imagination in me that is beyond almost anything that I could have imagined. Okay, so the next track on the EP is One Thing Leads to Another, which is a kind of cover of the Fixes song by the same name. So The Fix song is, again, kind of happy, jolly pop rock, and the brilliance of her cover is that she changes the lyrics. The chorus remains the same in this brilliant gothic remix of the song, but the words change. So, as a way of contrast, in the original Fix song, in the original song by The Fix, the song opens with the words, "The deception with tact. Just what are you trying to say? You've got a blank face, which irritates. Communicate. Pull out your party piece. You see dimensions in two. State your case with black or white, but with one little cross leads to shots. Grit your teeth. Run for cover. So discreet. Why don't they?" And then the chorus. "Do what they say what they mean, one thing leads to another." Raign's version of the song keeps the same theme, but with her amazing power of voice, and the words are changed. The deception with, just what are you trying to say? You've got a blank face, which irritates. Communicate, pull out your party piece. You see that mentions in two. State your case with black or white, but with one little cross leads to the shots. Grit your teeth. You run for cover, so discreet. Then into the chorus. Why don't they say what they say? Say what you mean. One thing leads to another. It's a slight change. It's a little change, but it makes such a difference in the emotional impact of the song, especially when taken together with the new instrumentation and the really dark, heartfelt power that the song carries with it now that the original really doesn't have. Nothing against the original. I'm a fan of the original song. But the power that she brings to this song and the originality of it, it is, I don't know. You all know, because if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, there's a certain comfort that I find in the darker, craggy places of the world. And this song pulls those out, highlights them, and says, look at this glorious shadow. It looms over everything. It changes all. And in those dark recesses that this song goes to, and it really digs down into those deepest places, it wakes me up, and it gives me life, and it gives me hope, and it makes me remember those times when I felt betrayed, or when I just don't understand all the dissembling that people go through so that they can keep the illusion of their perfect lives and all that other crap. I really do have a hard time kind of coming to terms with that because, I really do believe that you should say what you mean what you say. You shouldn't say things that you don't mean, and that doesn't mean that I never say things that I don't mean, because sometimes things come out wrong. But, I've never quite understood the need and the desire to dissemble and to lie and to cover up and to pretend things that aren't true. That's not my bag. I'm not really into all that. And there's something about the way that this song is delivered that brings that back to me in such a powerful and meaningful way. If you listen to no other song on this album and you want to check it out and get a sense of who she is, listen to this one. One Thing Leads to Another, Raign from Born Again. The next song, This World of Ours, really just floors me. It just knocks me out. I mean, this song is everything that I listen to Raign for. I don't know if it's a romance song, if it's just life-affirming, it's just beautiful. Once more, to take you through the lyrics. Don't think you are lost tonight. Don't be afraid. Never forget to dream. You are the walls, the key of heaven's sky. I want to hold you through the night. I can't fight this feeling anymore. You've been by me, breathing for the both of us. And I won't cross this moment from the floor. Just help me open the door to the world. Give me the world. Give me your heart of mine. I want it all. I want to fade to light. We could be stars if we could imagine life was real. We could all fall in love in this world of ours. Now I know some people might come at me for these lyrics and call them cheesy or something, but they're so powerful. They're so, like, I don't know if it's because of my own bouts with depression or if it's because of my own dark sensibilities, but the songs like this, with lyrics like this, really, oh my goodness, they invigorate me in a way that words don't manifest. And the words for the song don't do it justice. That's why I keep saying I wish I could play this for you, because the build and release and build and release and epic scope of the sonic landscape that's built throughout this song takes you higher and higher and higher as you are learning to be free and to love one another in this world of ours that we could all fall in love. All of us. We could all be together. It's such a beautiful sentiment. It's such a beautiful song. And probably my favorite song on the album. Of all the songs on the EP, this one, more than anything, is my heart. And I hope you love it as much as I do. Definitely check this album out. It's so worth the time. Oh my goodness, it's so good. The last song on the EP, This Is the End, which is fitting for being the last song on the EP, is in so many ways the epic masterpiece that this EP was demanding. Because each song has its own epic sweep. This song is the titanic battle of good and evil and darkness and light and shadow and sunshine and love and loss and everything that you could imagine all colliding at once, with just the gothic choruses singing along with her and the booming drum and just this song. This song is so good, and it is a perfect way to cap off the album. It really is. This song is everything that you could ever want in an album. And this album, just this album, man. Like, I really don't have words. Like, if I was a star rating kind of a person, I hate giving perfect scores to things. I really do. But if I were a 5 out of 5 star kind of giver, I would definitely give this a 5 out of 5 stars. Though I hate doing stuff like that because it's so reductive. Because each song adds something different. And each song just really tells its own story. But definitely a masterpiece from Raign. And I'm so glad that this EP exists. Now, there's one more song that was released on the 10th of August that shares the same cover with the album, with the EP, though it is not on it. And that song is called Out of Time. And I know why this song isn't on the album. And it's because this is the happy, dancey pop song that still has the brooding and the darkness and the shadows in it, but it's a much more alive and powerful track than the others in that way. Like, if you just want to kind of groove and dance and you wonder what Raign would sound like in that kind of a space, Out of Time is definitely the song to listen to. It takes everything that is good about her and just speeds it up slightly. It's kind of like listening to her at a higher speed but pitch shifted so that she still sounds like her. Yeah, but it's good. It's great. It's so much fun. So check it out as well. I really enjoy doing these kind of, here's an album that I love thing. Here's an artist that I've recently discovered. And a couple weeks ago we talked about Aviva, and it was so great, the feedback that I got on that episode, including from the artist herself on that, which just kind of melted my heart. And hopefully someday we could do an interview with her or somebody, because, like Raign, that would be awesome, because I haven't done interviews on the podcast in quite some time. But that would be something that I would really love to do, especially since Aviva is crafting a story, and the music actually is part of a story. And I kind of wish these Raign tracks were part of a story. And I don't mean like in the sense of a concept album. That's not exactly what I don't know. It's the horrible writer thing that I do that, when I'm writing kind of mini movies in my own head into text form and hoping that that text gets across to people. And albums like this one, songs like these, are the soundtrack that makes those stories happen. And I can't help but wish that there was an official narrative that went alongside these stories that she presents in her songs, so that we had characters to name and we could talk about the motivation of each of these characters in turn. I don't know if that would add, subtract, multiply, or divide the enjoyment of the experience, but yeah, I kind of wish that that existed. Like, when I listen to Out of Time, like, this is after the movie for Crucify My Love. When we get to the credits, this is the credit song. This is the song that rolls right at the credits. It's like, yep, that's how it ended. Bye. See you next time. Because, I don't know, this is... I think about these things probably a lot more than I should. But yeah. So, if you've never heard of Raign, that's Raign. Definitely check her out. Definitely. Please check her out. Especially if you're into dark music, gothic music, any of that kind of thing. Definitely check her out. She is so good, and I've loved her for so long. And it was such a surprise for me when I saw that she had a new EP out, because I wasn't aware. I've been working on other stuff and not really paying too much attention to the world. But yeah, oh, so good. So check her out if you would. And let me know what you think about these music episodes and what I can do to make them better. Because, since I'm not allowed to play the songs anymore, I was hoping that by going through the lyrics that would help, and kind of, especially on an album like this, it's probably not that helpful because all I do is gush about them instead of going into the literary meanings of the words and dissecting the poetry in ways that I should. And maybe I should do that in future when possible, but this album is so fresh, and just thinking about it makes me giddy that, it's hard for me to be serious about that. So definitely let me know what you think, how I can make this better. Definitely check out this album. Definitely is the word of the day. Next time you hear somebody say it, pretend you're on the old school Pee-wee's Playhouse and just scream, because that's apparently the word that I've decided to use a lot today. So thank you all for listening. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast and being a part of everything that I do here. As of the recording of the podcast, of this episode, we have already reached half of the number of listens this month that we did all of last month. So thank you so much for subscribing, for sharing. A lot of you have been sharing the podcast, and that means the world to me, because I think we're doing something special here, and I really love sharing these things that I love. So thank you to everyone who shared, and especially to April Daniels, who shared our podcast about Dreadnought, and to Aviva, who shared our podcast about her music, because that introduced my work to audiences that would have never heard me. So thank you so much for that. It really means the world to me, especially to hear some of the really good stuff that people have been saying, because that just warms me. So thank you so much. All right, if you like this podcast and the app that you're listening in lets you rate podcasts, please rate and give a short review of the podcast. That really helps out a lot. Like, if we want to make the front page of Apple or get in the noteworthy section, that comes from reviews and ratings. So please, if you can and you feel like it, please rate the podcast. If you have the time and the interest and you think somebody would like this episode, please share it. If you can support what I'm doing financially, that would be amazing. In whatever app you're currently listening to me, if you go to the show notes for this episode, you will see support on Anchor. If you click that link, you can donate at the $1, $5, or $10 level, and we get to choose those. Those are automatic, how the system works. And that money really does go to help make everything better. Like, thanks to all of your all's support, I have enough money to either run some ads to spread the word about what we're doing, or get a copy of Vellum to make the ebooks and print books better. And I'm really torn up over what to do about that. And so thank you for your support, because now I have other new things to worry about. But if you guys continue to grow in support and it's not a one or the other thing and I can do both, and that makes my life easier. So if you want to make my life easier, please consider donating. It's just $1 a month. It really does make a huge difference. Thank you in advance for even considering possibly hitting that button. It does mean the world to me. If you want to support everything that I do, you can go over to projectshadow.com. You can find links to all my social media accounts over there, as well as my Patreon account. The Patreon account is for everything that I do, including my fiction writing, which you can find over at Wattpad. Again, links to that at projectshadow.com. So if you want to give to my to everything, you can do it on Patreon. If you just want to make sure that you're saying the podcast is the most important thing to me, definitely you can do that here. Thank you so much for all of your love and support in the dark times that I've been going through. It means the world to me. I really don't have the words to tell you how much it means. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you later. Have the fun. Bye.